Armour in video games has always had a variety of uses. There's the obvious one, that being a better defense, but it can do so much more. In the case of Breath of the Wild, certain armours increase attack damage and climbing speed, as well as heat and cold resistances. Solid Snake has the Octo Camo suit for blending into scenery, and that Mega Man armour from Dead Rising? Well, that just makes you look like Mega Man, but that's still cool. Those, however, are the good ones. And today we're interested in those pieces of armour that were more of a hindrance, the ones that may appear to have some semblance of use, but are more of an inconvenience than anything else. Some of the armour featured today is probably quite good in the realm of the video game they're featured in, but we aren't bothered about that. This is how they'd function in that pesky thing called reality. So, let's have a real stickler look at some, shall we? A quick aside to our American friends for when stuff comes up on screen, it's armour with a U here in the UK. There's also a U in Kullauer, Onauer, and Neybauer, but there's no need to fight about it. It is, after all in good humour. I'm Peter from TripleJump, and here are the 10 most impractical pieces of video game armour. Number 10. The Varia Suit, Metroid Prime. The Varia suit is arguably Samus's most famous look, but that doesn't mean it isn't impractical. Considering that the Varia suit was originally an upgrade to the Power Suit, its uses have altered over the years. Using the suit in the original Metroid would cut in half the amount of damage taken, and that's certainly useful, but the addition of the shoulder boulders surely just works to limit Samus's visibility. Here we'll focus on Metroid Prime, specifically when it comes to the offending shoulders, because it was the first time you would start with the Varia suit, making it an inconvenience from the get-go. It even gets in the way before you play Metroid Other M, with a shoulder taking up half of the box art. There are undoubtedly power armors with less visibility. I mean, I can't imagine a Big Daddy has the best time poking around Rapture. But the Varia suit makes the list because the armor that it's apparently an upgrade for looks nearly identical and is less impractical. Number 9. Gold Armor, Minecraft. There are various things wrong here, but let's start with the most obvious one. Getting a full set of gold armour in Minecraft is a farce. Firstly, you kit yourself out with a full mining set, iron pickaxes, torches, food and a sword as a bare minimum, and then you have to trudge through the pitch-black monster-filled tunnels in the hope of finding gold. Oh, and it's not just a bit of gold either, it's 24 blocks of gold for a full set of armour. You then have to smelt it in a furnace, which takes a painfully long time. If you've ever sat and waited for a kettle to boil, then you know the pain. Then, when you've finally got your gold ingots, you can craft the gold armour. You do all of this, and admittedly you have to do the same with iron armour, only to realise that it has half the durability of an iron set. You know, the metal that you already had so you could make the iron pickaxe to mine the gold. So what's the point of gold armour? Well, it looks pretty swanky to be fair, but that's about it, really. Outside of bragging rights, the quest for golden armour in Minecraft is a wasted one. And if you think about it in real life, who would want to wear armour made of solid gold? The time you sink into looking for gold armour in Minecraft would be much better spent doing something more productive, like, I don't know, watching the TripleJump VODs channel where we play Minecraft. No, you're a cheap plug. Number 8. Quiet's Grey XOF Armour, Metal Gear Solid 5. It goes without saying, but the excuse of Quiet having parasites, meaning she breathes through her skin and as such can't wear more clothing, has to be one of the silliest things Kojima has ever come up with. And that is impressive considering how high that bar was to begin with.
Don't look where I'm pointing!
So even if we get past how ludicrous the concept is, we have to then ask why she can wear this in the later game. It's an unlockable costume called the Grey XOF that was originally shown in the opening cutscene and is available later in the story mode. So why isn't Quiet struggling to breathe while wearing it? Your guess is as good as mine. A suit of body armour that inflicts more damage than it prevents is surely enough to warrant the description of impractical. The only reason I'd not rank it as more stupid than it already is that technically it's only a cosmetic difference rather than an actual game-altering one. But let's just rest assured that after Metal Gear Solid 5, Kojima couldn't get any weirder. Okay, we all know this is just a setup. Just roll the clip.
And this is
hate these things.
Number 7. Most of them. Destiny 2. To put it nicely, Destiny 2 seems to be going for more aesthetically pleasing designs when it comes to their numerous suits of armour. You can tell that practicality wasn't the top of the agenda for the concept art department. Let's analyse a few. I adore the fluffy neck here. This caption of "From atop humanity we watch" is such a beautiful irony given that the user can probably only see in the second dimension. And no, the chainmail goes on your body. Oh, never mind. That's quite enough of that. There's a lot to choose from when it comes to armour in Destiny 2, and it can all benefit you in some way or another, and the sheer amount of variety in the class-specific armour types is to be applauded. But whether it's a lack of vision, protruding horns that are easily grabbable, or just frilly things obscuring your perception, whatever inconvenience it may be, Destiny 2 has something for you. Number 6. SHAHDEES armour. Can you hear my air quotes? Prince of Persia, Warrior Within. I'll be with you in just a moment. There's just a small matter I need to attend to first. just a moment. Hey Adam, it's Peter. I was just wondering, are we going to get demonetized for this? No, I don't know if it counts as armour. She got her what out? I didn't... I guess we'll just risk it. Okay, thanks. Yeah, love you too. Sorry about that, everyone. Just had a chat with the boss, and I think we can show Shahdee from Prince of Persia Warrior Within on YouTube, but I'll just warn you that the character design leaves very little to the imagination. While we here at TripleJump believe that you can do or wear whatever you like as long as it makes you happy and doesn't harm anybody else, what we don't condone is objectification. And I'd be willing to bet that the designers of Prince of Persia Warrior Within never had a sturdy suit of battle armour in mind when creating the combat gear for Shahdee. To approach this from a purely practical direction, I can't really see what this outfit is achieving on the field of battle. Yes, it's metal in the way that armour should be, but it doesn't cover your most vulnerable areas, unless you consider the nipples to be more vulnerable than the throat. Oh, and there's also the issue of chafing. That can't be pleasant. Number 5. Stormtrooper armour, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Both of them. Why do stormtroopers wear their armour? It doesn't do anything. The only real weapons in the Star Wars universe are either lightsabers or blasters, and the stormtrooper armour has been shown time and again to do bugger all to defend against either of them. The armour even limits their vision, evident by the fact that they can't actually shoot anything or even effectively walk through a doorway. Surely it can't get worse. Oh, it can? Oh. Remember Return of the Jedi? Remember how the Ewoks battered countless stormtroopers to death with nothing but sticks, rocks, and Home Alone-style traps? Well, the Empire's greatest shame was immortalised in pixel form in Star Wars Battlefront 2 2005 in the form of Hunt mode on the Endor map. There's a similar mode in the more recent Battlefront 2, but at least the fight has been evened out a little by it being completely pitch black and actually slightly scary. If we're being honest, we can probably let the weakness to lightsabers slide. The Jedi death sticks, no, not those ones, can cut through just about anything, after all, though being taken down by child-sized chunky bear creatures with rocks and sticks is simply inexcusable. Number 4. MORDESSA'S armour, Enclave. Oh, where do I begin with this one? How about we start with the positives, if there are any? Well, the top of the head is definitely protected, and so are the arms and shins, and I suppose it's fairly intimidating too. No, I can't say that. It's hard not to giggle at the sight of it. I think that's about it, really. Yes, we can't deny that this armour design is simply ludicrous. Mordessa clearly can't see a thing, those horns are just going to get caught on everything, and her heart is not just vulnerable, but made more of an actual target by being the only section on show. It's almost like the designers of Mordessa originally had a full set of armour in mind, and then decided it was too sensible. So instead of a full redesign, they just clicked and dragged the body armour template, put it over her eyes instead of her chest, and thought, yeah, that'll do. There's not much to say about Mordessa from Enclave. I just thought everyone deserved to see how silly this outfit really is. You're welcome. Number 3. Useless armour, Ghosts and Goblins / Dragon's Lair. In Ghosts and Goblins, you die in 2 hits. The first time you take damage, your suit of armour shears off and leaves you vulnerable. Now this might just be me, but body armour exploding due to the slightest contact with anything is a bit of a design flaw. On the upside, at least our hero Arthur had the wherewithal to wear a full suit of armour, however useless it may be, unlike some other characters in this list. The armour of Dirk the Daring in Dragon's Lair is somehow worse than Arthur's. This wiki told me that Dirk is wearing armour. It doesn't really look like it, but who am I to argue? In Dragon's Lair, everything kills you. As it's simply an interactive movie where on-screen prompts trigger alternative cutscenes, every time you miss the required button press, you'll die. It's the QTE game to end all QTE games. So, in this instance, the armour is undeniably pointless, and Dirk would be a lot more manoeuvrable in a t-shirt and shorts. Well, it's supposed to be medieval, so I guess stockings and a nice tunic. In short, a full suit of armour is not always the way forward, and Ghosts and Goblins and Dragon's Lair prove this. Maybe the next entry used the same reasoning. It would certainly explain a lot. Number 2, Dante's armour, Dante's Inferno. We are reluctantly accustomed to seeing ineffective armour being used on female characters in video games, but Dante's Inferno is a glaring example of a time when it happened to a chap too. You can imagine the reaction of Dante Alighieri if he were to see the video game adaptation of the first part of his epic poem, The Divine Comedy. It would probably be something along the lines of, I have no possible reference point for this because I've never seen a video game in my life, so I'm just going to go back to my desk and do some more writing. A quick anatomy lesson for the developers though. When it comes to the human body, all the fiddly bits that keep you ticking are located roughly in the same area. This zone. So, armour is usually made to cover this section specifically, as you're much more likely to die if you get a wound there. There we go, that's the lesson over. So, on the note of impracticality, not only is this defensively useless, but also, if you lift your arms, Dante, you impale your cheek, you fool. And number 1, again, most of them, the Dark Souls series. By some argument, you could put all of the armour in Dark Souls on this list. Due to the restriction in dodge rolling and increased stamina consumption, a large number of players will just forego armour altogether. There's also the fact that most bosses will crush you in a hit or two regardless of whatever you're wearing, so why bother with the restriction? Considering how dark and soulless the world of Dark Souls is, I don't know who writes this crap, it really goes to show how creative and silly the designs can be if you look a little closer. We have the symbol of avarice. While it does grant you an item discovery bonus and the addition of more souls from enemies while you wear it, it still looks ridiculous. It'll also damage you slowly until you die, which is just lovely. On the dafter side of things, we have the Xanthus crown, because, well, just look at it. Mad. Oh, and let's not forget about the Katarina armour, the garment of the Onion Knight. You're right, Patches, I couldn't outwit an onion, but I can certainly laugh at them. You look ridiculous. So there we have it. Those are the most impractical pieces of armour in video games. But what did we miss out? Let us know in the comments section below. You can follow myself and TripleJump on Twitter here, and if you want to support the things you enjoy, then check out the rewards on our Patreon. Finally, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. I've been Peter from TripleJump, and thanks for watching.